we'll see getting things underway in a matter of moments, and we're off and starting here in Columbus. That's the least experienced player for the Buckeyes, Caleb Wesson, big number 34 in the middle. Jayshawn Tate with the first shot of the night. He leaves it on front of the rim.
Oh, I'm not sure that that's a guy that Chris Holtman wants shooting the basketball from the three-point line. Interesting first set. Not a lot of movement. Not a great first possession for Ohio State.
You know, in the game Sunday, Robbie, first few possessions, Ohio State was a little sluggish against Michigan State as Michael Tchaikovsky gets the game's first basket. And then late in the first half, they sort of found their rhythm. Michigan State came out and hit the first couple of shots against them until the Buckeyes found a little bit of rhythm, largely due to the man who's setting the screen, Bates Diop. Now,
well, Ohio State does a really good job of playing through their bigs. And we talked about Keita Bates Diop, but you mentioned Caleb Wesson, Jayshawn Tate. Both guys can post up, you can play inside out through them.
Here's Mr. Basketball in the state of Ohio last year. Wesson misses. Bates Diop has it swatted away. Jackson for three.
The emergence of C.J. Jackson continues, and he has been so good for this Buckeye team since Chris Holtman benched him 7 games into the season, shooting the basketball at a high level, not turning it over, running the show for this Buckeye squad.
This guy's shooting about 44% from three, averaging a little better than 13 points per game. Tchaikovsky able to dribble. It was knocked away from him. Tchaikovsky with his second basket.
And you gotta like what Mark Turgeon's team has done here. Go right at Keita Bates Diop, make him defend. It's what you do when you go against a star player. Gotta make him play both sides of the basketball.
And Maryland does have a height advantage inside too with Tchaikovsky and Bruno Fernando, the other freshman. 2 freshmen banging away inside right now with Wesson and Fernando.
Well, Chris Holtman talked about it. This matchup is not great for us. You know, you look at the Michigan State matchup for them. They have bigs that are comparable to Ohio State's bigs. And it's really going to be tough for them. Kevin Huerter in particular going to have to really pay attention as he will come off multiple screens as a jump shooter.
Wesson got really deep position on that last basket. He missed some easy shots, or at least close-in shots against Michigan State on Sunday. Ball knocked away.
You mentioned it, Reese. He's been able to get to the rim. Hasn't necessarily finished, but you like what he's been able to do.
That'll come in time, won't it? And when he gets in better shape, he's lost some weight since he's been here. He'll continue to get in better shape. And that is what Chris Holtman was worried to death about, Kevin Huerter getting a free look. How many times did we hear him say today, stay attached, no matter what,
you
stay
give him
attached.
that kind of space, he's going to knock it down. It's like really shooting a free throw for him from out there. Got to get a hand in his face.
Maryland's hit its first 3 field goal attempts. Tate strong inside
On the season. First foul there on Michael Tchaikovsky. Sorry, foul. You're right there. You've got a 6'5" guy going at you.
Tonight, Dion Wiley's not going to be able to play. He's not here. Suffered a concussion in the game against Iowa. They were expecting to get him back next week. But right now, Turgeon's team is depleted. Huerter fires again and knocks it down.
Well, that's Cam Williams guarding him right there, and you go under the dribble handoff. He's going to just step back and pull it right in your face.
That's 2 threes for Huerter, and the Terps are up by 3.
Maryland not as good defensively in the conference this season, in conference play, I should say. But they do a good job of being to the ball. We're going to see Ohio State, Chris Holtman talked about, they've got to move the basketball early, make that defense move, and then they can break them down and attack them from there.
Marcel, another freshman, gets his shot blocked. Jackson barely grazed the rim.
So far for this Maryland team, we have not seen much run for Anthony Cowan. Expect Maryland to get him going with some pick and roll. So far, Ohio State doing a good job of containing him.
Talked about the injuries. Robbie Cowan barely comes off the floor anyway. He leads the Big Ten in minutes played, and turnovers have been a problem for the Terrapins, so they've improved of late. That one is a live ball.
Talented guys, but to mold a team the way he has, and really, he talked about today, they had to cut some guys loose, and not just guys that weren't good, guys that could really play. And he made that call, and you can tell when you watch this Ohio State team play, they enjoy being together and they like playing together.
Cowan knocks down the three. It's such a thin line for coaches. Had Bates Diop been completely healthy last year and perhaps asserted himself the way he's been able to this year, maybe last season goes differently and Ohio State doesn't make the coaching change. As former Michigan man, Andrew Dockich, now an Ohio State player, has checked in for the Buckeyes and has the ball. But those types of things are what can change seasons and change careers. Thad had a great run here for sure. A lot of wins and sizable footprints that Chris Holtmann is stepping into. Bruno Fernando almost traveled and missed the shot. The pinballs around for the Buckeyes. Will have it going the other way. 14.5 to go. Bates Diop lining one up, and he hasn't quite gotten the offense going tonight.
Well, Maryland is incredibly fortunate there because their transition defense never located the best player on the floor. Bates Diop able to step into that one. Maryland extremely fortunate.
Bates Diop has missed his first 3 shots. Here's Cowan, who is hanging. The Buckeyes are running it back with Tate. Wesson deep post position again. That little soft hook this time wouldn't go. Cowan's got electric speed, but we haven't been able to see it much in the early going. He's a guy who played with Melo Trimble last year and has really become the leader.
I think it's fair to say we're probably going to see 4 guards. Nickens, Herter, Cowan, and Morsell.
Tchaikovsky's back in there. And Dockich, how about the job Andrew Dockich has done? Coming over from Michigan, thought he was going to go to Quinnipiac, winds up here and is playing a really important role in getting some significant minutes for the Buckeyes.
Important. And Chris Holtmann said, and we're seeing it right now, Andrew Dockich might be my guy that guards Kevin Herter because he's the best detailed guy on my team scouting report-wise. We have 14 from the arc. He's a guy they need to make shots, especially with the injury situation they find themselves in.
He missed all 4 of his shots against Iowa this weekend. Bates Diop finally gets a field goal to go.
Maryland chooses to go zone on that possession. Ohio State, that basketball not sticking anywhere, it's moving. They find Bates Diop in the middle, and he's able to knock down the jumper.
Big Ten's leading scorer has his first bucket of the night. Good pass. Tchaikovsky.
Kevin Herter, he's a guy that can come off these screens and not just make plays for himself, but they're making a play for Michael Tchaikovsky.
That is something you said about Bates Diop game, that he is deadly in that mid-range game.
And you talk about the mid-range game and how it's disappeared from basketball. But now with him, he has found a way to incorporate it. He's so good in the mid-post. He can spot up from those spots. He also can get to a spot on his pull-up and with his length elevate over anybody on the floor.
Headed to the 12-minute mark, Maryland and Ohio State. Terps with a 2-point lead on the road. Herter's been hot early, but that one was
conflict of interest. Ohio State to, or excuse me, Michigan to Ohio State, but Sean Obi, Maryland to, or Duke to Maryland. How much better? I'm not sure.
He's the second guy to do that.
But what a cool experience for the guys on Maryland's team to get to experience other cultures. You know, and you see it a little bit if you can play professionally over in Europe. You get to be in a locker room where so many different languages are being spoken. Really a cool experience for these guys.
When Tchaikovsky first got to Maryland, he was the only non-English speaker, and now he's joined by several guys, including the injured Even Bender. Sometimes they'll speak in Slovak or Croatian to each other, and the coaches will have to tell them, English, please.
Well, just from playing experience,
sometimes.
Those Croatian guys, they like to stick together. That's for sure.
Andre Wesson had checked into the game. He's the one who missed that last jumper for Ohio State. His brother Caleb, the freshman big man that we've seen earlier. Cowan knocks down 3, and Maryland pushes its lead out to 5.
That's what makes him so tough. You just cannot go under. But with his speed, it's tough because that dribble handoff's coming. You're trying to beat it, get around it. You can step back and knock down the 3.
Now, Turgeon's not a big fan, but necessity's the mother of invention, and Maryland showing a little zone here.
And definitely to kind of preserve some legs here and make Ohio State make shots over the zone.
Dockich rimmed out the 3. He banked one in right at the end of the first half against Michigan State on Sunday. That sent the Value City Arena into a frenzy, and the Buckeyes into the locker room with a double-digit lead at the half. Tchaikovsky rolling to the basket. That was a terrific find from the back to this weekend against Iowa. Tchaikovsky now has made his last 9 field goal attempts. He's got a couple of dunks and a couple of layups tonight.
They've really made a concerted effort to go to him, get him shots on that block.
Brother to brother, Andre Wesson finds Caleb for the layup.
And how cool to be able to play with your brother on a major college basketball team. Pretty special for those two.
And their dad played here too. Keith was a fine player for the Buckeyes in the mid-'80s. Tchaikovsky working on Wesson in the post. See if Tate doubles him. He does not. Tchaikovsky's still perfect. He's hit his last 10 over the last 2 games. And he's into double figures too.
You think that he likes this matchup with this young freshman? It's clear that they are going right at Caleb Wesson. Going to make him guard.
Turgeon told us today that he feels like that his group, despite having some youth, has been a good road team. Dockage lining up for 3. Off to a good start in Columbus tonight. So Dockage giving a spark, not hesitating, pulling the trigger. It's a 4-point game inside 9 minutes to play in the first half.
Those are shots that Chris Holtman needs him to shoot when he's open. You talked about this Maryland team, though, Reese. You look at who's on the floor, and there's talent. Right? There might not be depth, but there is definitely talent with who's out there. You talk about the injuries; those don't happen. This team could have, by the end of the season, been really dangerous.
Williams, pull up. Cam Williams from Baltimore against his home state team getting a bucket, and it's a 2-point game, and we're awake here in Columbus now. Nuthouse across the way trying to exhort the defense a little. Ohio State hadn't pushed out on the floor for a while. They forced Cowan into a wild shot. Good defensive possession from Ohio State. Dockage, elbow, got it.
That's a shot that he absolutely has to shoot. You talk about Marvin Bagley. He should be a senior in high school. He's out there getting 22 and 11 in Cameron Indoor Stadium. It's impressive.
Wildly talented guy. I was looking forward to seeing him in the Champions Classic. He got poked in the eye early, so I haven't had a chance to see him in person very often. Man, and wait till we do see him. It's been impressive on TV. Cowan gets a shot blocked.
Well, great defense leads to a run out. You look at where Maryland was trying to run their offense from on that last possession. They've been pushed way out by this Buckeye defense. Able to force a block shot. Get yourself going with a dunk, Jay Sean Tate.
Bruno Fernando, we have heard very little from.
Hasn't gotten the ball much. It's been a lot of Tchaikovsky, not much Fernando.
Tobias, no good. Fernando fighting, getting it himself on the offensive glass in a fresh 30. Cowan lets fly. That's no good. And Bates Diop has it. And Ohio State already on a 9-0 run, trying to extend it. Lob from Dockage. Wesson inside, draws the foul. To help this team, a scrappy, tough guy. Wesson makes 1 out of 2.
Be a screener. Good screeners find open shots.
Dockage getting up under him. Herter puts it on the floor, loses it out of bounds. Guys went to the same high school. Morcell was young. He really looked up to Williams, who is 4 years older than he. 5-hour energy. Those games streaming live on the ESPN app. Teams wind up dealing with so many different types of problems this time of year. A little flu bug's been running through Kentucky. Is Dockage again? Andrew Dockage.
Well, if you're not going to guard him, he's got to step up and shoot the basketball. And right there, a message to the rest of the league. You got to get a hand up on this man. He's a guy that can do a little bit of everything in terms of getting his teammates involved. If he's going to make shots, man, that is bonus for this Buckeye offense.
Wesson on Bruno, and it's not a good pass. Herter cut off by 3 Buckeyes to eliminate the chance to score in transition.
With this Maryland offense right now, you have to think with Anthony Cowan, who runs the show. Probably got to be Kevin Herter, but he's certainly playing out of position.
Morcell drawing contact. Dockage with 8 in the first. The freshman from Baltimore was a welcome to them. Been over 4 minutes without a field goal with a couple of free throws. Makes it a 4-point game as we head toward the 5-minute mark here in Columbus. Reese Davis, Robbie Hummel, now our ESPN crew. Glad to have you with us. And the Big Ten's leading scorer has a three. Keita Bates-Diop.
I love the fact that he saw Michael Chakosky not defend him with the hand up, and he just stepped into it and shot it. That's the kind of aggressiveness you want to see from the best player on your team. So Chris Holtman has been trying to get him to be. Not often that you have to ask your best player, please, if you're open, shoot the basketball.
Herder using his size. Chakosky fades away from the basket rather than going straight up, and that gives Ohio State an opportunity. Bates-Diop wants it. He's got it. He shoots it. Misses. Oh, look at Tate. Oh, look at Tate flying through for the offensive board. Oh, good look to Tate. Couldn't get the shot up. Bates-Diop does and drains it. 10-point lead for the Buckeyes.
Right now, Ohio State's offense is operating at such a high level. You find Jayshawn Tate under the basket, and he finds Keita Bates-Diop. A little swing action. Right now, this Ohio State crowd likes what they see from their team.
Why not? It's a 19-2 run. Can Bruno Fernando stop the bleeding? Can't get the shot off. Herder was hot early, but Dockich has bottled him up lately. Shot clock. Chakosky has to fire his first miss of the night, and Ohio State is putting the clamps down on Maryland.
Dan wanted to shoot that one.
Yeah, he did. Why don't you start to feel that crowd and they're ready to go? Dockich feeling it. Got it!
Chris Holtman telling him, we got to calm down. We got to get some stops here, guys.
Dockich's 11 points, a career high. Chakosky has it knocked away. Here come the Buckeyes. Cam Williams has it blocked, wanted to call and didn't get it. Now Maryland trying to answer before this thing gets out of hand. Herder. Chakosky on the follow and one, and Bush is the three-point play. Maryland overall in the season has had good field goal defense, but in Big Ten play it hasn't been great. It's been around 50%. 3 of their previous 4 opponents in conference play have shot at least 50%, and Ohio State firing away at a 56% clip so far in the first half.
Well, it doesn't help that, and Mark Turgeon told us, I don't like to play zone. But I think he feels like he has to. As we see Jayshawn Tate on the feet from Andrew Dockich again. He doesn't want to play zone, and he's having to play it because of the short bench. And it's really hurt his team. It's not what they work on. It's just, if you don't work on it, how can you be good at it?
Herder blocked by Bates-Diop. Kevin gets it back, finds Chakosky, and he's going to be called for the out. Bought shot the 100th of Bates-Diop's career. He is right on target, averaging 20 points per game. He's got 10 here in the first half. Make it 12.
And that's not bad defense by Daryl Morcell. He's right there. He can test the shot. Nice little roll and rise action there on the pick and roll. And that's a situation where Bates-Diop just gets to a spot and knocks it down.
A 16-point lead now. Check to make it a 14-point lead. (41-27). Ohio State with a lead. Jackson feeling it. Morcell will push away as we head down inside the 92nd mark. Herder. Chris Holtman appeared to be in physical pain after Herder hit that one right in front of him.
But that's just a bad shot from C.J. Jackson and leads to a run out. And offensively, you can keep the game in the pace you want to play. Right there. Bad shot leads to a run out.
And Williams steps into one, the Maryland native.
He is so confident right now, Reese. He's playing with a lot of confidence, and you can tell, I think, when you see him go to his dribble pull-up and the floaters. And he hasn't shot up tonight, but you've seen it in the last couple games. Really feels like he's shooting the ball at a high level, and you can tell he's playing a lot of poise.
And 5 points here in the first half. Shot clock at 5. Cowan all the way to Majic with the foul.
He did that a lot against Iowa as well. really active on the offensive glass. A guy that's going to have to really step up with the injuries that the Terrapins have had thus far in the season.
Shot clock is off, so no opportunity to go 2 for 1. Ohio State blistering in the latter stages of the first half. We'll go to the locker room with the lead. The question is how big. Tate working on Obi. Pulled away by the freshman of the week in the Big Ten from Maryland. The big fella coming off a 21-point game against Iowa was 0 for 1 with a rebound, and that was it in the first half. He's battling inside for position. He has his second rebound of the night.
That's what Maryland has to do. Good first possession there. Get a stop. Now run your stuff and manufacture some offense.
We've referenced the Ohio State win as Morcell goes in and draw the foul for Ohio. And he makes 1 out of 2. Kentucky and Vanderbilt coming up Saturday afternoon on ESPN, part of the college hoop doubleheader. Then we'll go to the ACC, North Carolina and Notre Dame, part of the Saturday showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. All those games streaming on the ESPN app as Tchaikovsky rejects Tate inside. Here's Cowan. He was only 2 for 8 in the first half. Now he has the opportunity. I beg your pardon, foul was on Williams instead. Are you surprised by that? I thought that was an and one for sure. Courtney Jones and John Gaffney and Mike Eads thought otherwise. And who are we to disagree with officials, though that's never stopped me before. Opening moments of the second half, Ohio State undefeated in Big Ten play at 4-0. Trying to make it 5-0. They'll play 3 straight away from home as Bates Diop knocks down the 3, and the Big Ten's leading scorer now up to 15.
Well, Kevin Herter just closed out to Keita Bates Diop and didn't get a hand up. When he closed out with his hands down, his length, you have to get it up there. There's something to think about.
I believe I've heard someone say hand down, man down.
That's a famous saying.
Have you heard that? Herter now doubled, has to get rid of it, and he throws it away. Jackson, Williams for 3.
Williams for 3 from C.J. Jackson.
We've said it a couple of times tonight already. Defense leading to offense, and you get the ball to Cam Williams in transition. The confidence he's playing with, he's going to step in and knock that thing down.
17-point lead for the Buckeyes. Cowan trying to draw contact. Might have been better served just to try to make the shot. Jackson. And can't get it to go.
Floor. You're starting to look around with Cam Williams playing with extreme confidence. Caleb Weston, a guy.
33. Maryland needs to get busier. This one's going to get out of hand if it's not already. Fernando with punch.
A nice set there by Maryland. Good back screen. We'll see if that can maybe jumpstart Bruno Fernando's day, because so far, really been a non-factor.
I'm not going to sit here and say that previous turnover by Herter was the smartest of passes, but I do think he anticipated Fernando stepping to the ball a little bit, and Bruno was sort of caught in the observatory just watching. Shot fake to pull up. Wesson working the offensive glass.
And just falls asleep. Good offense there for Maryland.
Bates Diop. Good defense by Herter to keep him from pulling the trigger, and nobody could stop Williams. And rims out, and here come the Terrapins. They've given up a little more ground in the early moments here in the second half. Maryland, of course, replacing Melo Trimble from last year's. Tamajic lets one fly. Horner knocks down the 3. Joshua Tamajic.
And as bad as this feels for Maryland, really still in striking distance. If you're Ohio State, you got to put them away when you can. This Maryland team extremely dangerous. You look at who's on the floor right now. Their depth might not be there, but they still have a lot of talent.
They run the double at Weston. Can he get rid of it? And can Ohio State swing it? Almost a turnover. Wesson comes out of there winning the chance in the three-point play. More than 100 games that he played in a Buckeye uniform, and watching the younger of his two sons not tonight. Buckeyes with a 17-point lead. Maryland's won the last 4 in the series. Bruno Fernando just hasn't been able to find his rhythm tonight. He has been battling a little bit of a flu bug. How much that is affecting him, we don't know. And Daryl Morcell, who has a lot of aspects to his game. One thing that needs some improvement is the perimeter shooting. Perimeter shooting has been pretty good for the Buckeyes. Jayshawn Tate, not necessarily his game, but that 3 gives Ohio State its biggest lead of the night at 20.
The Buckeyes doing a great job in their transition offense of just pushing the basketball. Maryland really struggling to get back. Jayshawn Tate just wide open.
Tamai tries another winner the other night, though Damian Lillard thought he should have just had 35. He didn't like that. Basketball on the road. And the start, maybe it's a product of the skin, namely Purdue, and obviously they're a threat to Michigan State. At least they were in this building on Sunday.
Right. You know, they certainly have sent a message, I think, early on in conference play. I still, to me, the top tier of teams in this league is still Michigan State and Purdue, just because I think that depth-wise, they maybe offer a little more than this Buckeye team does. But with that being said, Ohio State is making a case to be number 3. And right, they struggle with Rutgers. So a lot of it is really when you get them. But if I'm coaching right now, I don't want any part of this Ohio State team.
And Ohio State's going to go away from home. They're at Rutgers, at Northwestern, and have a game in the Garden. It's Minnesota coming up.
I think with what
that they would play a little bit better. How good is Purdue? And the question we've been asking about the Buckeyes, can they keep winning? As Morcell goes down the boulevard and it's an offensive foul.
I think as you look at what they've done, they struggled in the Bahamas, obviously. That seems like a different season ago almost at this point. But I think their best win probably has to be, I suppose, Arizona. But Arizona at that point was kind of in tank mode in the Bahamas as well. So I'm still not sold. Now they go to Michigan this week and they get a really big win there in Ann Arbor. I think they have the players to make it to the Final Four, but we've seen it so many times, and unfortunately, I guess in my career, I saw it too. You got to have everything go your way. You got to stay healthy. You got to really be playing well at the right time, and you got to get good matchups in the tournament. Now, with that being said, they do have a really talented team, and if those things fall right, yeah, they could go to the Final Four.
Jackson from the corner. C.J. Jackson, and Buckeyes are up by 21. And to your point about the health, that's something Maryland has not enjoyed. Justin Jackson was a guy who declared for the NBA draft and then pulled out, expected to have a big sophomore season. Instead, surgery to repair a torn labrum. Even Bender maybe was playing his best ball. Dockich is playing his best ball tonight. Andrew can't get down to the guard. Jackson's there to tip it in, and everything's going Ohio State's way.
They might give him an assist for that one. Boy.
Made 6 of their 14 field goals. Maryland's a team that on the season shooting 49%. They're shooting 35% here against Chris Holtman's defense.
Great switch out there by Bates Diop. Herter was open. Lost Dockich. And
Dockich on Tchaikovsky. Andrew giving up about a foot. Tchaikovsky can't get it to go. And for the second time tonight, he ties up the big fella. Started to make inroads in the Baltimore area and recruiting as well. The program on the right footing, but this has not been their night, at least not so far. Tchaikovsky again. Got his 7th buck. Tchaikovsky's had a nice night now with 15. It's more than double his average and ties his season high. Musa Jallow is checked in for Ohio State, kid who reclassified, a freshman to fill up the roster. And filling up the bucket is Keita Bates-Diop. He now has 18 and his 4th triple of the night.
And as a player, if you want to get a shot, set a great back screen. And right there, Bates-Diop laid one on Andrew Dockich's man. And he found himself wide open.
Nickens. Here comes Jackson the other way. And the Buckeyes have turned this into blowout mode. Andre Wesson a little wild with the shot, but Ohio State will get a fresh 30 as we are headed toward the 11-minute mark to play here in Columbus.
Andre Wesson, a guy that you want to see him make some shots. He's known as a shooter. Doesn't have a great percentage, but He's a guy they need to shoot that basketball.
Asking you shall receive tonight, Robbie. Everybody filling it up as Andre got a good, clean look at it and knocked in his first bucket of the night. Now Bates Diop thought he had a steal with Mike Eaton too, don't you? You can keep it stuck right here. We got the UCLA game, UCLA and Utah. It is dog lovers night there.
Oh, excellent.
And Bill Walton's on the call.
Oh, so surprising.
I can't remember, but I don't think the beloved Baxter that he and Dave Pash talked about. I believe Baxter was a cat. But still. So Pash last night is working with Jeff Van Gundy, the NBA game, and listening to Van Gundy rant about official treatment, and then getting upset when Dave, freshman from the Canary Islands,
things tonight, and even in the past couple of games, I think he's a guy that as he gets more minutes, you can maybe see him playing a larger role. Sometimes with these injuries, that's one of the positives you can look to come out of this. Guy that doesn't have a role when Justin Jackson and some of the other guys are healthy, but now that they're not, when those guys come back, you've got some guys that have some experience.
Had a redshirt season, put on about 20 pounds of muscle and weight and nutrition programs. It helps so many of these young guys when they get in to put on or take off the weight. Herter steps into the passing lane. Kevin's been quiet for a while. Cowan's been quiet all night and knocks down the three. Cowan's third bucket of the night, all of them from behind the arc. And he's got 9. That is well below his average coming in of 16 points per game. It's a 69-45 Ohio State lead.
Harold himself doing a really good job of fronting Bates Diop on the block.
Boy, Tate just has
for a few extra wins. Yeah. The thing that's, I think, as a coach, if you're coaching against him, you tell your guys, if he gets to his left hand, you're coming out of the game. We cannot let him. We cannot let him do that. When he goes right, his percentages go way down. The left-handed guys, they find a way to get to that left hand.
Now, when you were in the league, wasn't the scouting report on Manu Ginobili that he goes left, but man, can he go left?
Yeah, and I play with a guy, Shabazz Muhammad, same thing.
Yeah.
He is going to his left jumper. I could tell you that every time he catches the ball.
And the blowout loss to the Timberwolves. LeBron. You know, this is going to set an NFL record for the largest age gap between starting quarterbacks in a playoff game. 16 years and 88 days between Brady and Marcus Mariota. But Marcus is going to have a huge game and win to have the best week of any quarterback from Hawaii this week. After Tua Tagovailoa came off the bench to lead Alabama to the national championship. Nickens going to try it again. Hasn't been Jared's night. Morcell is a fighter inside. It's one of the reasons Turgeon really likes him.
See that go down, get him going. It's not about tonight. It's about the next couple games. Get him going back in the right active. Free from the right corner. Really save the day. He's not afraid of the moment.
I like dudes like you that shot it no matter what. Morcell was like 3 of 16 against Purdue. And Bates Diop knocks down another 3, and he's got 21. This after a 32-point performance against Michigan State, 27 before that against Iowa. Bates Diop healthy and playing the best basketball of his career as the Buckeyes once again have their largest lead. It's at 28. Herter. Technically is a better sugary confection of goodness surrounded by chocolate. Bates Diop with the fun. That's what a Buckeye is, and I can consume entirely too many of those. A lot of times when you come here to do games, you get complimentary ones.
Sure.
They'll hint. We haven't received any yet.
In the shaft. You saw me come in here, the Z crew on ESPN, and we didn't get them.
That's what you start talking about when it's 76 and 49. That and the official John Gaffney's over here asking to go. It's been all Ohio State, Maryland. Actually had a 7-point lead in the first half. Out to a good start. The Buckeyes roared out to a 29.
Let's get everybody that plays out of the game. Let's get some rest. Let's get
Monday. Now they're thin. If they did that, they would largely, not entirely, but largely be going to walk-ons at that point. So when you're in Turgeon's situation and they haven't probably played with the type of intensity and effort, and as it, you know, some of it it's just one of those nights. They haven't executed at the level they'd like. But when they haven't always had the consistent intensity and effort that he would like, how much of it is you leave him out there and see if you can make them at least finish the game play?
He might even be doing one of those deals where it's like, hey, let's win this 4-minute game. Let's get to the 4-minute timeout. Let's win this one. And there's something to be said for that, because that is important as well.
E.J. Jackson fires. Jackson's had a solid night in double figures with 10 points. Tchaikovsky can't get it to go. Tchaikovsky going to try it again. They'll go and play those two big guys together
more as well. And you hit the nail on them. He's really just faded away and kind of avoided contact.
16 tonight, a career high for Tchaikovsky. Will not be a memorable night for the Terrapins. We're inside 6 minutes to play here in Columbus. Ohio State about to snap a 4-game losing streak at the hands of Maryland and extend their winning streak in Big Ten play this season to 5 in a row.
Go high, low, get yourself a dub.
Tate with 30 tonight with 18 points, and he'll go to the bench. Ohio State has shot it from behind the arc extraordinarily well. They've made 14 threes. That's a season high, and it continues to be an issue in Big Ten play, both field goal defense and three-point field goal defense, which is decreased dramatically for the Terrapins in Big Ten play as opposed to their non-conference schedule. Allen driving. 5 minutes to play, just over that here in Columbus as in Big Ten.
I think he felt like in the Michigan State game, they did some good things, and they did. You know, Michigan State played so well. They made everything. I want to say even Tum Tum knocked down a three, not known as a perimeter shooter. But they really had it going. It was one of those nights in East Lansing where it snowballs on you. And here tonight, just a product of they're so thin, and the margin for error is so low. And Ohio State's come out here and they've played really well. Don't take anything away from them, because it's been a really good effort on.
Bray, the winningest coach in Notre Dame, the ESPN app. And what about performance from Luke May this week as he continues to evolve?
You know, almost with Michael Jordan, that type of shot in the NCAA tournament, so cool for him. But he's made himself a player. Last year, really a role guy for that North Carolina team. I don't care who you're playing against. 32 is 32. That is getting buckets.
Wow. Jackson wanted to get buckets, and he does.
In and out. He did it against Michigan State, too. It's been one of those nights for Maryland.
Reese Mona off the bench and into the scorebook. Headed toward the final media timeout zone. What has been a great night for Ohio State. We've talked a little bit about Chris Holtmann taking over for Thad Matta. Look, Thad Matta had a terrific run at Ohio State, more wins than anybody in Ohio State history. And for Holtmann to come over from Butler, get a healthy Keita Bates-Diop, drop in 26 tonight as this first year off and rolling for Ohio State.
You talked about Thad Matta, and just for playing against his teams, they were always so well prepared and they were so well put together. You look at who he had, whether it was the Evan Turner teams or it's the Jared Sullinger teams, and I was fortunate enough, I guess, to get to play against both of them since I stayed for an extended period of time, 5 years in West Lafayette. But you know, I always just had such a respect for what they did, because they played the game the right way and they were really good.
Jackson again, bodies flying, reserves waiting to get some run at the scorers tables. We're inside 3 minutes to go. There goes Cowan again. It's been a frustrating night for Anthony, who's had an outstanding sophomore season up to this point, but he's just 3 of 13 from the floor.
It's impressive to do it without three-point line.
I think 79 too. That would even be prior to Xavier McDaniel and Antoine Carr and all the great players they've had. Musa Jallow tried to Get a little highlight reel. Jallo is in. So too is Micah Potter, a talented big man. Bright future, very talented.
When you come in, because he said it's hard to come off the bench when you've been sitting there for 2 hours and shoot. Now
T. White started at Ohio State and then served during wartime and then finished up his career at Michigan. So it's not unprecedented, it's just unusual. It does, however, take away some of the ammunition that I've always said that college rivalries are far superior to pro ones because you don't cross sides. Lane coming off that bench, firing!
You said it, Reese. You coming in, you got to get him up. And Joey Lane, rising fire.
Attaboy, Joey. Nickens finally gets one to go. Right now, Joey needs to drive it and rise up and fire another one. He's going to get trapped here now. A turnover. Mona, who already has come off the bench and has a basket, is going to have a chance to go to the triple right there. Turn the ball over. He's done that before. That's not unusual for him. Both free throws. He has 4 off the bench. Headed down toward a minute to play in what's going to be an emphatic and decisive victory for Ohio State. Micah Potter that's on the board. Ohio State, its best offensive night ever against the Terrapins. 88 and perhaps counting. Sean Obi, new transfer, getting his first bucket of the night. Well, final minute here in Columbus.
And Ohio State has struggled with Maryland here in their past 4 or 5 matchups. Hey, it's time. It's time to put them up.
Now, Potter can do that.
Yes, he can.
We've seen him do that. He's come in and gotten a couple of shots up quickly. Buckeyes over 90. I like what you said earlier, though, Robbie, and I agree with you. This Ohio State team is starting to gel a little bit, and there's some dangerous weapons for them as they now will be road tested and see how they fare there. And Ohio State can dribble out the rest, but Maryland's guys off the bench wanting to play, and who can blame them? You know, people say back it out. Why? These guys are on the floor. They're getting some run. Go play.
Yeah, no doubt.
Announcing their presence in the early part of the Big Ten race, and that is likely going to do it in what will be a huge victory for